Hey, this is Kate. If you're enjoying the content on the Good Fight channel, then please do hit like and subscribe below. Thank you. Danny, what's good?
Chilling, training hard. That's about it.
You are. So I saw you at the press conference that you did recently with Jose Benavidez, who's obviously your next fight, and you were kind of saying, I'm back to feeling my best. The rest did me good. I feel like a young version of myself. I guess I was just wondering, what was the last fight that you felt this good for?
I would say the last fight I felt this good was probably Adrian Granado's.
Okay. Which
Yeah,
ended well for you.
I felt good that fight. I felt rested. I felt like I had a great camp. And then that was probably the last one I felt really good.
In terms of looking at Jose Benavidez, how highly do you rank him as an opponent?
He's a tough guy. He's been around for a while, so I'm pretty familiar who he is. I've been watching him over the years. I know who he is, and I'm taking him seriously. I know he's coming to fight, and we're gonna go in there and do what we do best.
It feels like there's a big win for him if he manages to get a result against you, right? He's fighting in a main event. It's on Showtime. There's a kind of a big jump in terms of his standing within the sport and putting him right back in the mix of things if he gets a win in a fight as big as this one. What about you? What do you think is at stake for you, and how big of a kind of how much pressure do you feel under for this fight?
There's always a little bit of pressure. I'm not gonna lie, there's always a little pressure because you always want to win and you want to go on the bigger and better things. So this is a fight for me that I have to win. I haven't fought in a year and a half. I'm coming off that fight with Spence, so a lot of the fans are wondering, does Danny Garcia still got it? So I have to go in there and look good, look great, and be myself and show the world that I didn't lose the step.
In terms of that pressure that you say you feel, how does that affect you? Are you the kind of person that like you'll overthink at night, like it'll keep you awake, or how do you feel that pressure?
Yeah, I'm an overthinker for sure, but I learned how to control it. I definitely learned how to control it. I just take it one day at a time now. So one day at a time, that's what we do. One round at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 second at a time. And that's how I approach everything now.
I was looking at your Instagram, right? And I saw a couple of clips where you're promoting the fight, but you're promoting people to go to OnlyFans, which kind of confused me because I have a different understanding of OnlyFans. What are people watching there?
Oh no, it's just it's called the Danny Garcia Show. It's just behind the scenes. I signed a deal with OnlyFans.
Okay.
So they're sponsoring me for the fight. They wanna
Nice.
They want to change the look of OnlyFans. A lot of people think it's just for like X-rated stuff, but they want to bring athletes and clean it up. So I was down to help.
So there's no nudity involved in your version of OnlyFans.
No, you're not gonna see no porn in there.
Okay,
Only
sounds
sticky
good.
movie you're gonna see is in the boxing ring.
Obviously, you're moving up for this fight, right? You're going to 154, your first fight at that weight. For you, it's the potential to kind of build your way to a world title in a third division, which I'm sure is your ultimate aim. I heard you say this is the perfect time for me to make this move. Why was now the right time, do you think?
I feel like 154 has always been my natural weight, my natural walk around weight. I always walked around 170 pounds, 175 pounds. Even when I was fighting 140, that was my walk around weight. Then when I moved up to 147, it was still the same, 170, 175. So I feel now that I'm a little bit old. I'm 34 years old. I'm more a seasoned. I'm more of a veteran. I feel like I have to be comfortable with training now. I have to be happy. And I feel the difference. I feel good. I don't have to go in the gym worrying about straining my body, losing weight. I'm sparring bigger guys, and I'm handling it. I feel good. I feel sharp. I feel fast. My defense is good. And I'm taking a good punch. I've been hit with some good shots when I first started sparring, because your eyes ain't really sharp when you first start. So I got hit with some shots by some young guys, and my jaw is still strong, and I feel like nothing's changed. I feel better.
Why do you say you feel like you have to be comfortable? Because camp is never really comfortable, right? You feel like you've gotten to a position in an age where you deserve that, like you deserve that kind of luxury of feeling comfortable? Or how do you mean that?
No, when I mean comfortable, it's never comfortable because it's never easy. Boxing is never easy. Like, I'm sore right now, and I'm going to spar right now. I'm going to spar 8 pounds right now. So I'm sore right now. So boxing is never comfortable as easy. I mean, as far as putting a strain on your body, like losing that extra weight.
Hmm.
I still got to lose weight. You know what I'm saying? It's always a sacrifice. But what I mean by comfortable is just that extra 5 or 6 pound weight loss that kind of kills fighters. So I don't want to have to put that strain on my body. I want to work on the game plan. I want to work on using my jab, using my angles and things like that. That's the more concern for me right now.
How do you look back on your time at 147? Do you feel like you proved what you wanted to?
Yeah, I feel like I did a good job. I feel like I could have did better. I feel like I proved that I fought the best and I hung in there with the best, and they fought their heart out with me. So I had some close fights at 147 that I thought I won. They didn't go my way, but I wish at least one of those decisions would have went to me. I would have been a lot more happier. But at the end of the day, I fought the best. I won a championship at that weight class, and there's really not much more you can ask for.
What about Hall of Fame? Do you feel like to kind of guarantee yourself that entry into Hall of Fame, you would need another world title at 154? Or do you think you've already done enough through 140 to 147 to guarantee yourself that?
Honestly, I felt like I already did enough because I clean out 140 and I beat two great fighters at 140. I was an underdog. I beat Lamont Peterson at that weight. I beat Matisse, Amir Khan in big fights that I was an underdog. 2 times the legend Erik Morales. Then I went up to 147, won a championship, fought the best names, Thurman, Porter, Spence, Guerrero, all those fights. So I think I'm definitely in the Hall of Fame. And I fought 14 world champions. There's not a lot of fighters who've done that. A lot of fighters who's sold as much as me. So I feel good.
So if you're looking at world champion at 154, it's Jermell Charlo who's undisputed at that weight, which is, I'm sure, ultimately where you want to get to, right? Is a pop at those belts. Have you been promised a route to get that fight against Jermell?
No, I haven't been promised that yet. I'm just taking one fight at a time, and that's what my main focus is. This fight, but that is the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to be a world champion again at 154.
So you go out, you get the win against Jose Benavidez. How close do you then think you are to getting that fight against Jermell? Like, what's the gap in between the Benavidez fight and a fight for the undisputed titles?
I'm not too sure. It could be next. It could be one more fight. I'm really not too sure how that goes because I know he has options also. He has options. He could fight whoever he wants to fight. I don't know. I really don't know. But the goal is to be champion again.
In boxing, right, there's always people who like to doubt. So I think that when people saw that you were going up to 154, there was some fans out there who would say, well, he didn't get the wins at 147 against Keith or Errol or Shawn. So why would he go and beat Jermell at 154? What would your response be to that?
Well, I feel like, if you look at all the great fighters, I'm not the only fighter who lost the top fighters, who's in the Hall of Fame or great fighters. Duran lost to Hearns, Leonard, Hagler, Oscar's lost to Pacquiao, Mayweather, Shane Mosley. The list goes on. I mean, I'm not the only great fighter who lost to other great fighters. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, 2 of those 3 fights could have went my way easily. A lot of writers around the world thought I won those fights. So at the end of the day, I didn't get the close decision. But at the end of the day,
Keith and Shawn, you're talking about.
Yeah. Keith and Shawn Porter. I definitely feel like I did enough to win those fights. They didn't go my way, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not the only great fighter who lost to other great fighters.
So time out from boxing. It's a minute since you had that fight against Errol, right? It's 19 months out the ring when you fight again. Is that right?
Yeah, something I guess like that.
I'm just interested. Like, how long have you given yourself in camp? I'm assuming this isn't just like a regular kind of 6-week camp. Have you given yourself a longer period, or were you already in the gym and already ready?
Well, I did something I didn't do before for this camp. I was actually doing like conditioning. I was doing push-ups. I was doing sit-ups every day.
Hold up. You don't usually do strength and conditioning?
No, I do, but not in between. I didn't do it in a long time. Like on my time off, I was still jogging. I was still going to the gym. I was still training a little bit. I was still trying to go to the gym 2-3 times a week. I was doing things that I haven't done in a long time. And I feel like I started camp early. I knew I was going to fight soon. So I started training. I'm ahead of the game. So I already sparred more rounds than I ever sparred in a camp before. So I feel good.
When I was listening to the joint press conference that you did, there was one point where your dad was talking in Spanish, right? And he was talking about the kind of the time that you'd had away and said it was really good for you because he felt like mentally you weren't in the right place to fight prior to that. And then he started talking about athletes and the stuff that athletes can suffer with that nobody else knows about because it's never visible, right? Which is like anxiety or depression or any of those things. Obviously, we're talking about a period of time that was kind of like that COVID period of time where a lot of the world was feeling those kind of feelings. Was that something you were dealing with at the time? Is that what he was alluding to?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know what I was dealing with, but I just knew I wasn't myself. I knew I wasn't myself. I couldn't snap out of it. Like sometimes it's like a thought in your head that you can't get out. And I didn't know what it was. I just thought I was focused. But really I was just beating myself up. You know, it was just a lot going on. And I fought 2 times that year. I'm the only fighter who fought 2 times in 2020. I fought before the pandemic and after the pandemic. So I felt like I put a lot of work in that year, and just the work kind of like it got to me a little bit, especially with all the things around the world going on. I felt like overwhelmed. I usually don't worry about what's going on outside of the ring and stuff like that. But it was just a weird time. It's just like it didn't feel like it was time for me to fight. I really had to like force myself to do it.
So what are you talking about for the Errol fight? At that point,
Yeah,
you felt like
okay. Yeah, I felt like I don't know, like I had to. Usually I'm excited. I didn't feel excited for it. Like I had to, and that's because probably it was just too much going on for me. Overworked, overthinking. Everything just got to me. It's like big pressure over my life just hit me at one time. And
got you.
So
that was a combination of personal and boxing.
Yeah, just everything. Just pressure of life just hit me at one time, just in the wrong time. And I just couldn't get it out of my head. I think that played a big part of my performance and my training and everything.
How hard do you think it is for athletes to kind of cope with those ups and downs? Because it's just like a constant expectation of performance, right? Whatever you're going through personally, whatever your family is dealing with, there's that constant expectation. Do you maybe now with hindsight look back and think, I wish I'd taken a time out. I wish I hadn't taken that fight when I did? Or would you not go as far as that?
No, not really. Everything happens for a reason. You know, everything happens for a reason. You have to, in order to become great and better, you got to go through the fire. And testing myself, like mentally and physically, I tested myself. And I knew that if I can make it through that, then I can make it through anything. And it definitely made me stronger. Because at one point, no matter if it's now or later, everyone goes through that. Where the pressure of life and everything
heck yeah.
It just pop like a bubble. So that's just what happened to me. And I'm happy that happened to me. I'm happy because now I know who I am as a person.
I feel you. It makes you look at yourself for a minute, right? Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
One other thing as well, looking at your Instagram, is you kind of see how much you're promoting what you're doing outside of boxing, which is really cool, which is like the clothing brand that you have, the real estate, the property investments, all of those kind of investments that you're making to make sure that you set up your future once boxing is done, right? Which of your investments are you most proud of, do you reckon?
I'm proud of all of them because, like me, when I proved that I can make money without fighting, that's what made me more confident about like life after boxing. Because a lot of these fighters is like, all right, they got to fight to make money. But when I sold my first piece of real estate and I made money, it was like, wow, like I can make money without boxing. So it made me like happy and confident that when boxing is over, I can still make money. I can still have be successful outside the ring.
I think that becomes even more important, right? When you come from a position of not having, which is, you know, how you grow up. So you've now experienced kind of both sides of that, right? You've walked both stories, one where you have an abundance and one where you've really had to deal with not having as a kid coming up. It kind of reminds me of, do you remember when Andy Ruiz, when he beat Anthony Joshua in the press conference after the fight, he was talking and his mom was in the room and he said, "Mom, we don't have to struggle no more."
Right.
And it was this really cool moment. I just wondered, was there a moment for you where you thought, this is it, I'm changing my family's life right now. Like, we're not going to have to struggle.
I remember when I knocked Amir Khan out, I told my brother we'll never be broke again. I knocked him out. I said, boom, I hugged him. You can ask Sam Watson. He remembers. He tells me all the time. He said, remember you told your brother you'll never be broke again? So that was kind of like my moment. You know what I mean?
Dope.
So it was like, it's crazy.
Is there anything material that you've spent money on that now you look back and you're like, man, I really regret that though?
I got it all out my system. I ain't gonna lie. When I first started making money, I got my jewelry. I haven't bought a piece of jewelry like in 7-8 years. I watch. I got that all out the way. Not really. I mean, I feel like investing my money besides paying taxes is probably the only thing I hate. When but other
Yeah,
than
who
that,
doesn't?
cool. Yeah, taking half of your money, but it's cool. It come with the territory.
Was there a period of time though where you felt like it was kind of that fear of falling off, right? There's, all of a sudden you're making it and you've got this money and that's
Hmm.
great. But was there still that fear of kind of like this could go away? Was that why the real estate moment meant so much?
Yeah, because like I never thought it would go away because I always knew I'd be smart in investing. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I knew that. But definitely when you making the money, it happens so quick that no one's here to tell you, look, this has to last the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like boxing, you might be in the game for 10 years, but whatever you make and whatever you save or invest, like that's what has to last you the rest of your life. So that's definitely in my head. Like, look, I have to structure this, I have to do this, have a good team. They show me how to do this, how to invest that, put this money in that, and just make it according to your lifestyle. That's how you pay yourself, and that's how you just keep living.
Mm. I think anybody who kind of has followed your career and knows boxing obviously knows your dad, who's a real colorful character. And you guys have this really strong relationship. It seems like there's this kind of unbreakable loyalty between the two of you, which isn't always in a given, even with father and son relationships, right? Do you think that you could have been on this journey without him?
Nah, absolutely not, because he's the one that pushed me when I never felt like doing it. Like no one can make
Mm-hmm.
me do anything. You know what I mean? Like
He
no one
can.
can. Yeah, he's the only person can make me do something. Like so, it
Uh-huh.
was like I guess because he's my dad, so I listen to him. He's my father, so that's why. So that's a special connection. I never been a lazy person, but he's the only. If I really don't feel like doing something, he's probably the only person who can make me do it.
Is that because he always has the bigger picture in mind, or why is he able to reach you in a way that other people can't?
I don't know. I think it's just because we have respect. I got respect for him. I got
Right.
respect like as my dad. So you gotta respect the elders, and I just listen
Yes,
to him.
there. Uh-huh. There was a period of time when you didn't have him around, right? When he did time, were you like 8, 9 years old, something like that?
Yeah, I was 7, 8, and 9. I think 7 to 8, 7 to 8. Yeah.
So what did that change for you? Like what lessons did you learn as a kid out of that time?
Oh, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. That's tough being a kid like that. But I always tell people this: if it wasn't for that time in my life, yeah, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Because that's what like motivated me. That's what gave me
Mm-hmm.
the extra. Like not having nothing, your parent in jail, house going on foreclosure, living house to house. Like that stuff is what made me who I am. If it wasn't for
Mm-hmm.
that time in my life, you probably would never heard of Danny Garcia. So I feel like it was bad at that time, but it was good later because that's what motivated me to be great and earn everything I have. Because I know what it felt like to have nothing as a kid.
Mm-hmm. And then when he came out, you and he worked together again in boxing, and he kind of coached you up to one of the best amateurs in the country,
Yeah,
right? You had a really outstanding record. Was it 107-13?
yeah. 107-13.
It,
You had
oh,
championships under 19, all that stuff. So we won all them
nice.
national. Yeah, yeah.
What's the most important lesson he's taught you in the ring, do you think?
Just believing in yourself.
Hmm.
When I was a kid, I used to lose, and I was better, but I just didn't believe in myself. I just
Okay.
didn't. Yeah. So the older I got, he showed me like it's all about belief. You got to believe in yourself, and I think that's the most important thing that he taught me is just believe in yourself. You can be the best, and you can win.
One kind of hardship after the next, right? Because then at some point he gets diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Cancer to me is a really scary word. Stage 4 sounds even scarier.
Yeah.
Like what gave you both strength and hope during that time?
I would say when I was younger, I was like a positive kid, and I was a little naive. I always thought everything was gonna be okay. Like I looked at my
Mm.
pop, like he used to tell me he could beat Tyson when I was a kid, so he brainwashed me. So I always thought he's big and strong. Like I always thought he could overcome anything. So I always looked at him like that. When you're a kid, you look at your dad like he could beat anything. But I was like 16 or 17 when I went, but I still had that mindset like everything's gonna be okay. So I really didn't look
Mm.
at it how bad it was till later in my life.
What about now? Sometimes I watch you together, like during that press conference, and your dad he can sell a fight really well, right? He can talk, he can talk a fight up. He can go at
Yeah.
other people. And I sometimes wonder, is that like a relief for you that you can just kind of sit back and let Angel go, and you just get to kind of like do you and kind of be more to yourself?
Yeah, it's good and bad because it's good. He sells it and he goes crazy, but then I have nothing to say. It's like I go up there, what am I supposed to say? So I said, let me talk first and let him talk second now. So that would have something to say. But other than that, it's cool. It's cool. Everything's cool. I'm just letting him be yourself. Like to me, it's like to me, like to other people, like, yo, why do you let your dad act like that? He's acting crazy. You never tell him to be quiet. But that's who he is. He's like that all day, every day. So it's like he's just being himself.
What's the game plan as far as this next fight goes? What's he kind of giving you to do differently in terms of preparation? What are you switching up to kind of go up in the weight and make sure that your power comes with you?
Definitely, we would definitely want to be stronger. We're working more conditioning, working harder, working smarter, using our jab.
Do you have somebody with you in camp doing that, or your dad's kind of overseeing that too?
No, we have our strength and conditioning coach.
Okay.
Yeah, I do it every day after sparring. I go to the conditioning. We do about an hour of hard work, building muscle, speed, strength. And we're definitely working on more strength because we're going up in weight, sparring bigger guys, and just working on things we never work on, using that jab, even though I have a great jab, but I want to use that more. Good foot movement and just put everything together to make it a great fight and look good out there.
Have you thought about how much longer you want to be in this sport?
Right now, I'm just taking it one fight at a time.
One
fight at a time. One fight at a time. It could be one. It could be two. It could be three. It could be not 10, but around 1 to 3. But we're just taking it. Like I said, it could be one. It could be two. It could be three. It could be four. It could be five. So let's just do one at a time. See how far we can take it.
I appreciate you so much for your time. Thank you. I know you got a lot going on. I appreciate you. Good to see you.
For sure. Yep.